people of Southern Cameroons, my fellow brave warriors of our liberation movement, dear Ambazonians, wherever you may be, accept liberation greetings from me, Comrade John Akuro. Today, I want to send special greetings, very special greetings, to the entire business community in Ambazonia, all over the southern Cameroons, for your continuous resiliency, for your commitment and your permanent show of solidarity as far as this liberation movement is concerned. I want to let you, the business community, when I talk about business community, I'm talking about the buy and sellers. I'm talking about the truck pushers. I'm talking about the bike riders, the commercial bike riders. I'm talking about the taxi drivers. I'm talking about the shop owners, everyone involved in any form of business in the southern Cameroons, including even the interurban transporters. I really want to sincerely appreciate all of you for your permanent show of resilience, for your commitment towards this liberation movement, and for the contribution that you make by day and by night, just by shutting down your shops on Country Sunday, closing the doors of your homes, and staying in your houses, parking down your vehicles, your bikes, your trucks, and everything, to continue to send a strong message to the rest of the world that the people of the southern Cameroons remain very determined, and that our thirst for freedom, it's still very little, and that we will stop at nothing until we get to that place where we intend to get to, which is known as Freedom Land. I really want to also applaud all of those on ground zero in the southern Cameroons who continue to contribute feverishly, enormously, to keep this liberation movement alive in whatever way, and especially also financially. You are doing a great job. You are closing a gap that has been created by the disorder and the dissonant voices in the diaspora. I also want by this to applaud those of our people in the diaspora who have decided to, in one way or the other, continue contributing with verve, with a lot of enthusiasm, that's what I want to say, to keep this liberation movement going, supporting people who are wounded all over the place, supporting people who are internally displaced, supporting refugees wherever they are, supporting our prisoners of war who are suffering in the dungeons of La République du Cameroon, assisting with legal fees for prisoners of conscience case that's ongoing in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and especially making sure that those who are continuing to stand on the front lines do so. I really want to thank each and every one of you, because a good lot of our people have decided to avoid the noise and are silently doing the needful to ensure that one day we will recover homeland, that one day we will have a place that we call home. I really want to doff my heart to all of you. I say, all money place day, shake, shake, in no day. I want to take this moment also to pay tribute to our prisoners of war, our prisoners of conscience, wherever they are. I want to thank you all too for your resiliency. I know it's not easy. I know it's hard. It's really difficult. But one very interesting thing, none of you is giving up. You continue to remain true to yourself and committed to this liberation movement. We are on the hard way, and that is the only way that is ahead of us. So I really want to thank all of you. And I want to thank all of those who find time usually when they follow this broadcast to share the link as much as they can to ensure that we continue to reach as many people as possible with our effort to educate, sensitize, and mobilize our people towards continuing to stand strong for what we believe in. I want to give you very sincere thanks. Those who drop in comments, even those who insult, you are contributing, in one way or the other to keep this liberation movement alive. That is why I decided, and I continue to stay on that decision, never to close the comment section on this platform. Even after some insult me and get even very personal, I still don't mind, because I want us to continue to talk to one another. I want us to continue to exchange views, and I want us to continue to mobilize ourselves to face the challenge that is before us. One of ensuring that we have a place we call homeland, a place we can run to if we face complications, difficulties, or challenges anywhere around the world. This is very fundamental, and this is so important to me, and I know it is to you. So we must continue to stay the course. If you are just joining this show, then I'd like to appreciate it that you will take time to share the link as much as you can, so that a good lot of our people should be part of this broadcast. I would like us to take a 30 minutes break, just time enough for you to reach out to other people and tell them that we are on, and then we come back.
2016, say enough is enough. They get to take their country back. United Nations Resolution 1608, where we will come together like two separate countries for Federal Republic of Cameroon. You and France will not cancel her. Instead for you to go apologize to the people for what way you don't do. You carry a kelebe them. You can't kill our people, kill mothers, kill fathers, kill their children, kill women. You kill pregnant women, burn houses with people there inside, burn hospitals, burn schools, burn churches, burn villages. One day be one day, God will answer our prayers. Will be so? Yes, that's so.
Exactly. One day, God will answer our prayer. That's for a fact. You're welcome back. Not long ago, I came to this platform and I talked about a situation that was ongoing in Nigeria in the refugee camps. I talked about the incursions, the illegal incursions of officials of La République du Cameroun, coming from La République du Cameroun into Nigeria, and also the activities of the officials of the La République du Cameroun consular office in Calabar, and those of the La République du Cameroun's High Commission in Abuja, Nigeria, and the detachment in Lagos. The illegal activities they have been conducting in the refugee camps, pressuring refugees, bribing leaders in the various refugee communities or in the various camps, and causing them to bring the people, to force them that they have to register for a moribund election that is taking place in the Republic of Cameroon, and even in the end, actually capturing some people and getting them into cars and taking them to unknown destinations. Some have ended in jail back in La République du Cameroon. Others have lost their lives. I raised this concern. Unfortunately enough, some individuals, full of love and determination to see that the situation in the southern Cameroons never remains the same, to see that the lot of our people must continually be improved, and to see that we continue to stand firm for what we believe in, jumped in, brought in some assistance, and of course, the officials of the consortium out there in Nigeria were activated. And I really want to appreciate the officials of the consortium in Nigeria who went around from camp to camp, sensitizing our people with the means that were provided, and talked to the refugees here and there, and who also took the very important move of sending letters and meeting officials of the UNHCR, the United Nations High Commission for Refugee, both in Abuja and in Lagos and in Calabar, to draw their attention to this illegal activity. I want to appreciate Comrade Abia David for a job well done, and Comrade Tata Dona Sinaf for carrying out and leading this initiative, which has borne some very important fruits today. I received this document, and this is as a result of that campaign by by these venerated members of the consortium that I just talked about, and it shows that the UNHCR and the other bodies involved with managing the situation of refugees decided to take the alarm bell sounded seriously and got to the field. That is how I got this piece of information that was sent out that I'm about to share here, just so we all know the challenges our people continue to face, and so we all also know the malice that continues to animate the people or the officials of La République du Cameroon and their parachutes in our midst. The government of Cameroon has always operated, lived, and thrived on illegality. That is their preferred spot, and they will never stop. They always use this kind of approach to prey on the vulnerable people of the southern Cameroons at all times, and people end up paying with their lives in real time. This is why the sensitization is always so important, and that's why I remain generally indebted to those who often respond when I launch this clarion call for financial assistance for contributions, because it helps. Get this, attention, sensitization campaign on refugee political engagement and illegal return to Cameroon. It has come to our attention that some Cameroonian refugees have been persuaded and transported back to Cameroon for political activities. Sadly, some of these individuals are now imprisoned, while others have reportedly lost their lives under unclear circumstances. In response, a joint team comprising the State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, NCFRMI, the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, UNHCR, and refugee-led organization, RLOs, has been formed to sensitize the refugee population. The focus is to raise awareness about the dangers and consequences of illegally returning to Cameroon while holding refugee status in Nigeria. Schedule and coverage. This is action that is already going on and has already gone on in some areas. Adagum 3, that area has already been covered by this communique. Adagum 1, scheduled for 18th June 2025, that too has already been covered. Ukende, scheduled for 23rd of June 2025. This took place yesterday, Monday, and I cross-checked and talked to some of our refugees who attended these sessions, and they said they were really overwhelmed with what they learned from there. And I'll be bringing sound bites from some of the areas on this platform. Other communities to be covered include Bashu, Bashua, Biajwa, Danari 1 and 2, Abo Police, Ikom Nsofan, Sanjuala, Amana 1 and 2, Ufranj, Iso Bedege, Utanga, Obudu, Boki, Obanliku Axis, Akbokim Waterfall, and Ajaso. We kindly ask all refugee community members and stakeholders to support this initiative and attend the sessions in their respective settlements. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation. And this is signed for Victor Nke, Chairman, Refugee Organizations Network, Nigeria. So my people of Ambazonia, why I bring this on here is so that we know that La République du Cameroun is not sleeping. They have never gone to sleep. They are continually doing all they can to prey upon the ignorance of our people, to derail our people, and to exploit the poverty, the rampant poverty that they are imposed on our people as an avenue to take them to their early graves. This is a very grave and a very complicated situation. I will continually talk about this because I want our people to grow to understand that the challenges before us today are no different than they were in 2017, no different than they were in 2018, and no different than they were in 2019, 2020, and right up to 2024. This means that we have to continue to stay mobilized. We have to continue to stay vigilant. We have to continue to stay focused as we prosecute this liberation movement. A lot of our people are ignorantly paying the ultimate price, and this is something we should not allow to happen. This is why I decry the fact that a lot of our activists who were there morning, afternoon, evening on social media with talking heads and sensitizing people on some of this kind of issues have gone silent. I need you to wake up from your slumber. I need you to come back from your haters. It is time to once more answer the call of duty for motherland. This is very important. And I think that those of us who know these activists, reach out to them and ask them questions. Brother, sister, what is it that has happened? What has killed the steam in you? We need to get back up. The times are critical. And I assure you, the fields are getting wide. Harvest is waiting. I like to hear the number of people who will answer, send me, because we need people to plow the fields, people to help in the harvest. The days, the weeks, and the months ahead will be very, very important, very, very crucial with respect to our liberation movement. So this is why I'm calling on our continuous mobilization. That said, I want to go back to this statement, to this quote that I used in my broadcast yesterday, Monday, which says, one of the scariest enemies on earth are those people who pretend to be your friend. One of the scariest enemies on earth are those people who pretend to be your friend. I took time off in my last broadcast to elaborate on this. That is why today I'll not be elaborating on it at all. I'll simply be alluding to it now. Because see, what has been happening to our refugee community in Nigeria is that some of our people, planted agents by La République du Cameroon, are the ones who have been going around and deceiving our people with the notion that they are friends, they are part of us, and that the situation across the border is better and that the people should go back in because apparently there are new goodies that are being positioned for them by La République du Cameroun. And then these same people, when they succeed in cutting a number of them away and they discover that some have noticed and are beginning to run amok and notifying members of the community to this danger, they use the Nigerian police, the corrupt Nigerian police, to go after these people, capture them, and those are the ones that you have heard in that community who end up losing their lives when they are taken back to La République du Cameroun. We have to remain strong. We have to remain vigilant. We really have to be each other's keeper. Because, my dear people of Ambazonia, we're in for a long haul. And trust me, others before us did it. Our own situation will not be different. We just have to continue to maintain the same kind of fire that they maintain in us. Maintain the same kind of burning resiliency that they maintained. Maintain the same kind of determination and continue to stay mobilized. We have to continue to educate our people. We must not take it for granted at any given moment that our people are already sensitized enough, educated enough to know how to overcome the travails of an evil regime like the one we are dealing against in La République du Cameroun. I'm talking about elections. You know, there are some in our midst who have received promises. There are some in our midst who have been told exactly how things will happen if you support elections. Go ahead to sway the people to accept to participate massively. And then, you know, for one reason or the other, this candidate or the other wins, you are going to be assured a better position at the negotiation table, or you are going to benefit so seriously from the spoils that come from this arrangement. My dear brothers and sisters of Ambazonia, I want to assure you there is nothing good, I mean, absolutely nothing good that can ever come out of any so called nonsense called elections in La République du Cameroon. I like to share this comment made by our own venerated Professor Carlson Anyangwe on one of the videos that I sent out, and this was on the Cameroon on sale again. This is what Professor Anyangwe shared. He said, John, the general assumption everyone appears to make is that the scheduled October 2025 presidential election will take place and that Biya will run and come to two. He goes on, but there are two imponderables: the happening of the event and the survivability of those presumed candidates. He says, it seems to me that it is not a given that the election will take place. Exactly my thought too. That it seems that it's not a given that the election will take place because a lot of things could likely happen prior to the time that the elections are scheduled to take place. He quotes one of them. Its taking place might be frustrated by an unforeseen event or a number of unforeseen occurrences. It seems to me also that Biya might not survive until October. That is also hypothetical. Of course, Biya has said 1,001 times that he is Methuselah. So he gave 20 years some time ago and has beaten those 20 years. Perhaps he could beat 20 more years. But that is also, a hypothesis. Aware of this possibility, a number of hypothetical regime candidates are jockeying for that slot and waiting in the wings. Assuming that France succeeds in its strategy of imposing Kamto as candidate, it is not by all means certain he will win, as France is not in charge of the elections, except, of course, if France requires that Kamto be not just presidential candidate, but also that he be officially declared the winner. And he says, this will be a bitter pill for the Bulubeti tribal dictatorship to swallow, because it will make a complete nonsense of their rehearsed stratégie de conservation du pouvoir and will ensure that the tribe remains in complete oblivion for at least half a century. Now, let me halt here a bit before I finish the last paragraph in the contribution made by Professor Carlson Anyangwe. When he talks about France and the Kamto candidature, don't forget, I have said here before that the French, at best, could want Maurice Kamto to be candidate because they imagine that the refusal or the rejection of his candidacy could be one of the things that will cause the elections in La République du Cameroon not to take place, because it could generate chaos that mars even the holding of the elections altogether. So for that reason, France is quite likely to continue to squeeze pressure on La République du Cameroon to ease the tension by allowing Maurice Kamto to participate in the election, to be a candidate. Now, participation is one thing, and then ensuring that the result of the election are transparent is another one. Because one thing that you must retain is that the French are very concerned, have always been concerned, that the Bamilikis are not so different from the people of the southern Cameroons in their thought pattern towards the imperialist tendencies that the West will want to continue pursuing. They believe that the Bamilikis, who have effectively tried to compete with French businessmen in La République du Cameroon and in the Central African sub-region, for that matter, if given power, will make it even more complicated for France to hold monopolies on the natural resources of the country or in key sectors where they now hold monopolies. This is something that the French are unlikely to swallow. And of course, there are already some reverberations in that direction. Don't forget, there's a newspaper headline I saw in which it said the French ambassador, Thierry Marchand, received Issa Chiruma Bakari, who claims that he has abandoned the CPDM, but is still member of government in a CPDM-led government. He is still a minister in a CPDM-led government. He and Bello Buba Maigari. But Marshall wanted to know from Issa Chiroma Bakari whether truly it was really the end with the CPDM. And he said, in case that is true, but of course, this is the usual game, the position of France would be Issa Chiroma Bakari and Bello Buba Maigari should never get into any form of alliance with Maurice Kamto's MRC. So this comes back now to comfort me in the thought that I've always had that the French have just one objective. They want elections to hold peacefully in La République du Cameroon. They will push in Paul Biya again because Biya, it is certain, is determined never to be an ex-president even for 1 hour. As long as he is alive, he has to be president. And so, if they can manage the election peacefully and maintain Biya there, then it will give them time. They will be able to buy time to think on exactly how to get Frank Biya or any other Betis Tuch eventually into his shoes later. That is why I say, and I hold it very firmly, that the intention of the French, the reasoning of the French, is that any chaos in La République du Cameroun will benefit the Southern Cameroons. And for that reason, it will mean that they will lose what they are getting in the Southern Cameroons, the free resources that they are tapping in the Southern Cameroons. That's why they are deploying all efforts, all energies. That's why recently they even sent the Director General of the Gendarmerie in France to go and inspect his overseas offices in La République du Cameroun. So to conclude with Professor Carlson Anyangwe, he says, in the circumstances, I do not discount violence triggered by the Bulubeti and the assassination of Kamto to make sure he and his hated invasive Bamileke people do not get to power even with the benediction of France. So that is in case the French wanted to hazard or want to hazard all the way, like to say, okay, they really want to go all the way and enthrone Kamto as president in La République du Cameroon. Of course, Professor Carlson Anyangwe holds that the Bulubetis are unlikely to swallow that. And just because the people of La République du Cameroon are also aware that such a thing is likely to happen, that is why you will hear some bite like this one.
En plus du terrain, pour elle, c'est une option irrecevable.
Son enfant ne doit pas le remplacer, interdit. S'il remplace, nous tous, on va laisser le Cameroun à son enfant là. On quitte, on part, on le laisse seul ici. Vous allez partir où?
Did you hear that? This mother is swearing on her life because they are seeing the machinations from France. They are seeing everything that is happening around them. And they are also suspicious that there could be an ambush being planned by the French and the Beti clan to ensure that one way or the other, Frank Biya will take over from his father in La République du Cameroun. That's why you hear this mother swearing that his son should not dare replace him. And that if his son, if Frank Biya were to take over from Paul Biya, they will all leave and abandon Cameroon. And that's why you hear the reporter ask her and go to her, hear her answer.
Si je n'ai pas mouru où je vis, même ici, pourquoi? Si je n'ai pas mouru même où, je veux partir où? Depuis que je souffre là. Si, est-ce que ça vous... Je marche, arrivé là où je meurs. Est-ce que ça vous fait...
En plus du terrain, pour elle, c'est une option.
So you hear that? You hear the level of desperation. You hear the level of frustration. You hear this mother says, they ask her, so if Frank Biya takes over and you say everybody will abandon, will dash in Cameroon, will abandon Cameroon, to ask him, and you go to where he say, I don't even know where I will go, but why do I stay here? That the pain, the suffering, the torture I've been getting here, what is it? You say, I will be going. Wherever I Die or die. But the big thing she knows in her mind is that she has to be going. These are citizens of La République du Cameroon. How much more, therefore, for you, my people of the southern Cameroons, for you, my people of Ambazonia, who are not in the first place even considered as citizens, for crying out loud. Those of us who are still sitting and thinking and dreaming that, oh, maybe that election like that election may be, oh, we have candidate, we have a Keremona, we have Osi Joshua, they are convincing us we should go for elections. After election, we can fix the situation. You are dreamers, daydreamers. You are daydreamers. And that dream is a pipe dream. Get out of your slumber. Anyway, by the time I'm done with this conversation, you understand more and more that even that thing called election has no meaning in La République du Cameroon. Absolutely no meaning. Because La République du Cameroon is not free. La République du Cameroon is not independent. They cannot decide for themselves. They cannot choose for themselves. That's why you keep hearing France up, France down, France left, France right. Because whoever will be candidate, that must be approved by France. So in that case, do you say elections? Do you say democracy? And do you think the people can therefore have a free hand to plan their own prosperity? These are not people we have to be yoked with. That is why on this platform, I say it by day and by night, that ever getting together with the people of La République du Cameroon in the first place was a big mistake, because we were unevenly yoked with a people even whose form of education is so brainwashing that they don't appear to see a future without the help or the exploitative tendencies of their colonial master. We, the people of the Southern Cameroon, don't have that mentality. And so, therefore, bonding together with La République du Cameroon is next to madness. It's a relationship that will lead to nowhere. We tried it before. We saw and we are still seeing how it's unraveling. How on earth will we conceive that we start fighting for what we believe in, and we're in the middle, in the process of actually getting to where we hope to get to? And some think it is time to draw back, and some are talking about stupid elections whose outcome is known 7 years even before it is ever organized. Come on, give me a break. Let's continue to see exactly how France is all over Cameroon at a time when other French-speaking African countries are taking back their countries. Watch.
Voilà, le Cameroun, comme Maurice Kamto était pion de la France. Ah bon, sans plus tarder, voilà, le patron de la gendarmerie française au Cameroun, reçu par le patron de la défense, Betty Assomon. Hein? Regardez comment il est reçu. Voilà les signes de l'impérialisme. Ouais. Que notre armée n'est pas indépendante. Ouais. De l'autre côté, regardez vous-même, les coupettes. Comment le père des gens, hein, les officiers de haut rang, avec le célèbre Galaxy, hein, le patron de la gendarmerie camerounaise. Donc disons qu'il est avec son homologue. Mais regardez sa posture. Mais c'est terrible. Avec ton homologue, on dit qu'il est patron de la gendarmerie française. Mais regardez la posture du patron de la gendarmerie camerounaise. Lui, qui est dans sa posture d'un civil. Hein? Il est secrétaire d'État chargé de la gendarmerie. Mais regardez, il a croisé les bras lui-même là comme ça. Là. Hein? Les autres ont mis les mains derrière. Hein? Ouais! Le père des gens. Le père des gens. Dis donc, Maurice Kamto, pardon, récupère le pays là. C'est entre les mains des Français. Non, je comprends. Il faut qu'on récupère ça. Bah, les signes qui montrent que même notre armée ne nous appartient pas. Hein, regardez, il fait la revue des troupes. Là, il fait la revue des troupes. Hein? Ah, terrible. Ah, Seigneur. Seigneur, on est mal barré. Non, Paul Biya doit partir, franchement, ça vaut pas la peine. Ah, voilà.
So you can see for yourselves. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You see, even citizens of La République du Cameroun are no longer shy today to recognize that their country is not independent. They're no longer shy. More and more, they are coming out to cry, to mourn, to weep publicly that their country is more or less a province of France. My dear people of the southern Cameroons, my dear people of Ambazonia, we must not continue to allow ourselves to be fooled. When you hear they make useless noise as sovereign nation, sovereign up, sovereign left, sovereign down. 98% of our woes emanate from France. And how is France reaching us? Because La République du Cameroun is a connecting power. You're a Christian, you go to church, you go to pray, they tell you the only way witchcraft operators succeed in dealing with you is that they must get something that connects you to the demonic altars that they are going to. They will either go with a piece of your cloth or with money that you have graciously offered them to help them, and they take those things to those shrines as connecting power, or anything, any form of connection you have created with them. That is how it leads you to where your trouble will be brewed and channeled back to you. So by getting unevenly yoked with La République du Cameroun, we give France the connecting power to therefore unleash all the evil that they have been unleashing for decades on their former colonies, on us, the people of the southern Cameroons, who have nothing to do with France in the first place. We had nothing to do with France in the first place. Recall. So therefore, my people of Ambazonia, this whole nonsense, this whole shit, this whole rubbish about election, please throw it into the garbage bin. Some are even making noise about, oh, they have created the post of vice president. There will soon be an extraordinary session of parliament to insert into the constitution the post of vice president, so that a southern Cameroonian, or they call it Anglophone, will become a vice president, and then will be Paul Biya's vice presidential running mate, since they know that he can die. Then when he dies, in the course of his next mandate, where then the mandate will be reduced from 7 years to 5 years, the Anglophone will then manage the rest of his term until the end, and that is how they want to look at me. This. Yet that same insult we have been complaining about, always having to play fiddle role, always having to accept that we are second-class citizens, always having to have to accept that we are subhumans. This is exactly what I'm talking about. There are no elections. It's a selection. No elections. Selection. If you're doubting, let's listen to Alice come even as we round up this show.
Le mot démocratie ne peut pas s'appliquer en Afrique. La démocratie, d'abord, c'est quoi? C'est laisser les populations choisir leurs mandataires pour gérer leur pays et leurs biens. L'ayant compris, les dictateurs africains verrouillent au niveau de l'élection pour que l'expression populaire, l'expression du peuple soit vissée complètement au départ, et pour que les élections n'aient qu'un seul logiciel qui répète inlassablement à la sortie que c'est la même personne qui est là.
So when you hear, oh my goodness, I'm sorry, let's get back to Alice.
Et qu'on aura à la subir jusqu'à la lie, parce que c'est la même personne qui a cassé le mur de la séparation des pouvoirs et qui gère le législatif.
So when you hear Alice come talk, one thing comes to mind. She is ascertaining that elections in French-speaking Africa, especially, or in a broader sense, in a lot of African countries, but I know she's talking particularly of the case of Cameroon, are a formality. Because if you say democracy, means power to the people, and the people will be the ones to choose their leaders. And so the leaders have put in place a system where, elections are just a formality that simply replicate the same results that exist year in, year out, every now and then. And this is done with the complicity of the Western powers that shout democracy. Because at the end of each of these electoral consultations, at which they send observers, the observers tell them there were a lot of irregularities, but they have one catchphrase at the end. Well, there were a lot of irregularities, but perhaps not to the proportion that it would have changed the outcome of the vote. And so at the end of the day, they start sending serious messages of congratulations. The first few days, they don't congratulate you. They first keep talking, oh, there were quite some irregularities, because behind the scenes, they are waiting for the dictator who has just done it again to reach out and to promise even more allegiance and to promise to mortgage even more natural resources and to promise even more business opportunities where the people will basically be exploiting the local populations. That's what it is. And at the end of that cycle, that will last about, a few days to 1 week, messages of congratulations start pouring in. Messages of congratulations start pouring in. Oh no, it's democracy. No, nonsense. Absolute nonsense. This is something we must bear in mind. For those of you who are sitting and dreaming that a solution to the Southern Cameroon's question can be handled through elections in La République du Cameroon, I'm assuring you, you are misleading us. You are taking us to a route to a road that leads on a journey that leads nowhere. Let's finish up with our listening call.
Économique, l'administration, l'exécutif, la justice, et que la personne qui va proclamer les résultats, c'est lui qui l'a nommé, c'est un magistrat. Quand il nomme les magistrats, il gère leur carrière, il les met dans l'opulence pour qu'ils puissent dire, bah oui, bon, les résultats, c'est lui qui est élu, hein, et c'est ça qui compte. C'est ça que vous allez retenir à l'extérieur. Et c'est là où, à partir de là, vous allez, le président de la République française va le féliciter, même si on a la preuve que c'était une mascarade, un simulacre d'élection. Et on va dire vive la démocratie. Non, ça suffit. On ne sait pas ce que c'est que la démocratie. Si je ne fais que le dire, sans travailler dans ce sens.
So this is it. She's saying exactly what I've been saying here. Because you have a system where one man has all the powers in the country, has a stranglehold on all other state institutions. How do you imagine that that system will organize elections and this one man is candidate and he loses in those elections? The late Honorable Aya Paul Abine, the venerated man of law, in an interview on CRTV in 2008, when they were preparing to revise the constitution of La République du Cameroon to make Paul Biya a life president, said not only that Article 6 that was concerned, whether Article 6B that was concerned with the issue of mandate, but all other modifications, all other amendments were simply giving the institution of the presidency of the republic a stranglehold on all other institutions. Because as Alice is saying, that president appoints everybody, including the members of the Constitutional Council, including the members of the Supreme Court. He manages their careers. He appoints the members, the officials, members, and even the directors general of ELECA that will manage elections. And he manages their careers and all of those. And then these people will organize elections. And at the end of the day, you expect them to come and say someone won. When they tell you that Paul Biya is the winner, while you are agitating, while you have even evidence, strong evidence to prove it, the Western powers will congratulate him. Like she said, the president of the French Republic will be the first to send a message of congratulations. I call that democracy. In one of my shows here, I demonstrated. I played Madame Ekwe, Harriet Ekwe, who said very clearly that in 1992, the entire world, all the Western powers, knew that Nick John Fundi won the election and that Paul Biya lost. And she told you the behind-the-scene arrangements that were being made and how Frances Cook, who was the US ambassador to Cameroon at the time, told her openly, France has decided that although the people, the sovereign, the supposedly sovereign people of Cameroon have voted Fundi to be their leader, France cannot accept. Did you hear that? France will not accept for Fundi to be president. Although the majority of the people of Cameroon voted that this is our man. What has changed between 1992 and today? Has France ceased to be France? My dear people of Ambazonia, we have to cut that connecting power that is linking our destinies, linking our development needs, linking our future to France. If we must be able to determine our own development priority, to determine the policy on which our country is run, if we must be able to determine how our country will be run and be free to choose who our leaders will be, then we have to cut off the umbilical cord, cut off the connecting power linking us to France. That means getting La République du Cameroon out of our territory. That is the only way. There are no two ways. Federalism, any kind of thing called confederalism or whatsoever thing is nonsense with La République du Cameroon because France is cancer. This is what we need to know. That's my take-home message to each and everyone here today. So I want to thank you for the time you set aside to be part of this platform and be part of this conversation. As usual, I will urge you to share the link as much as you can. Let us get as many people as possible to participate in this information, education, and sensitization, plus especially mobilization campaign, so that we continue to stand strong for what we believe in. Thank you, everyone, and to God be the glory.